Hello pioneers, welcome to what is quite possibly my favourite build in Satisfactory since the full release. We're turning 150 oil into 400 fuel. Now the reason this is my favourite build is because of the numbers, the maths, the proportions, it all just fits together just perfectly. So this is a late game build. You will need the blender, which is tier 7. You're also going to need the heavy oil residue and diluted fuel alternate recipes, so make sure you've got your hard drive research going. Anyway, we're going to start with 150 oil. Now the beauty of that is every oil node on the map, when fully overclocked to 250%, will produce an exact multiple of 150. So an impure node will produce 150, a normal node will produce 300, and a pure node like this one will produce 600 oil. So take your oil, split it into its 150 chunks, and you're going to feed 150 oil into 5 refineries. Now, each of these refineries using the heavy oil residue alternate recipe takes 30, so 5 of those is the 150. That's going to produce a total of 200 heavy oil residue, and there's also a byproduct of 100 polymer resin that you're going to have to deal with. Now you could sink it, but there's actually a better use for that. If we come over here, we'll see. Now you can set another pair of refineries. Just pretend there's 2 here. One of them, residual plastic recipe, takes 60 resin and some water to make some plastic, and the other takes 40 resin and some water to make some rubber. 60 plus 40 is 100. See, already these numbers are working out perfectly. Now obviously 20 plastic and 20 rubber is not much, but I'm just using it to supplement my main rubber and plastic production. Anyway, aside from that, the 200 heavy oil residue, if we bring that over to some blenders, now each blender using the diluted fuel recipe is going to take 50 of that residue plus some water to make 100 fuel. So that's enough for 4 blenders. 150 oil, 200 heavy oil residue, 4 blenders making a total of 400 fuel there. It's all just perfect, no complicated divisions, no remainders. Now, what do you do with the fuel? That is the question. Now, I, at this particular location, am just feeding it directly into the fuel generators. Now, in terms of oil per electricity, this is not the most efficient. By the time you can do this build, you should have at least turbo fuel, possibly even rocket fuel, or at least be very close to it. Nonetheless, this is incredibly easy in terms of oil per simplicity per electricity. It's just really quick and easy to set up. Now, fuel generators were changed in the full release of the game. They used to take 12 fuel and produce 150 megawatts. Now they take 20 fuel and produce 250 megawatts. So it's the exact same proportion. The same amount of fuel will give you the same amount of power. It's just that it takes less generators to do it. But the important thing here is 20 fuel per minute. Remember, each blender is producing 100. That means it's exactly enough for 5 generators. See, back when it was 12, it was terrible. But now, so each blender is producing 1,250 megawatts. And of course we've got 4 blenders for the 150 oil. That's going to be 5,000 electricities. So 150 oil being turned into 5,000 megawatts. That's really cool. It just works nicely. Now this particular point on the map, this coast just here, with its 2 normal and 2 pure oil nodes, that's a total of 1,800 oil, and if you extrapolate that, that's going to be 60,000 electricities. that's pretty damn cool. I actually ended up beating the game on this particular save. Here's my golden coffee cup. Slurp. Yes, I finished this save just with this 60,000 megawatts here, plus slightly under 10,000 that I had from other sources, which was like my coal generators that I never got around to decommissioning, plus burning off the excess fuel that was created from my plastic and rubber factories. So you don't actually need much more than this. However, if you'll permit me a quick cut. So now I'm down here in this blue crater down in the southeast corner of the map. I did this after completing the game just to try it out. So I'm getting the same 150 oil that I was talking about before. We feed it into 5 refineries here, making the heavy oil residue. We feed that into 4 blenders, making the fuel. But what we do after that is we send this fuel into 4 blenders with the nitro rocket fuel alt recipe. We add some nitrogen gas, some sulfur and some coal, and we turn that 400 fuel into 600 rocket fuel. There's also some compact coal that, as a byproduct, you'll need to deal with. I'm just sinking it here. You could turn it into, you could burn it into coal generators, or you could turn it into turbo fuel, whatever. But anyway, this 600 rocket fuel is in fact enough for 144 fuel generators. That's 36,000 electricities, which is a hell of a lot from just, we went from 150 oil to 5,000 megawatts up to 36,000 megawatts just by adding nitrogen, sulfur and coal. It's more of a setup, and this number 4.17 is annoying to work with. Fortunately, it does divide nicely with no leftovers. You don't need to underclock or overclock anything, but it's still more of a pain to work with than just the regular fuel. So this is more complicated to set up, but the return on investment is actually quite worth it. So turning 150 oil into 36,000 megawatts, yeah, it's worth the effort.